Okay, I'm gonna start streaming.
Okay.
And I just have to verify that it works. So you can go, it's on a delay, but if somebody, okay, if somebody can check and make sure I'm live. Okay, it looks like I'm live. Oh, I am. I'm live. Okay.
Perfect.
This is weird. I've never done this to YouTube before, so this is exciting. So, okay. I am not set up yet. So, okay. So people can join the call at will. Okay. We are good. Okay. I think we're all set. I posted it to a crafting Discord I'm on, so hopefully some people show up from there as well. And Jessica and Kara helped me test this earlier when I set it up. So
yeah, I saw you guys were doing the chat. I saw the call come through while I was eating dinner. Like, what is happening? Oh, okay. Went back and read the chat.
Yeah. Only one person has to answer the call in order for it to work for me to like test stuff. But in order to stream it, I have to like check it. I have like brand new fabric.
Ooh, fancy.
I know. I think it needs, yeah, I need to put it this way. Okay. I am making an engagement present. So hopefully they don't actually watch me. I doubt they will. My family's not very supportive of stuff like that. I think mostly because they don't understand it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Except that's totally a lie because my brothers are doing the virtual game nights with me, which has been really fun and like nice of them.
Yeah.
Oh no, I dropped something on the floor that I don't want my cats to get to. Okay, there we go. Got it.
Because I'm set up at my kitchen table, which isn't my usual setup, I'm just not usually also in a video call. But I had to make sure that underneath the table was completely clean from everything the kids dropped during dinner, because I didn't want, if I did drop something, for it to be covered in hash browns or rice or anything else that might be surprisingly on the floor.
That makes sense. Apparently my hoop says this side up, and I'm like, that's not right. This is the back. What are you talking about? Except then I realized that no, this is probably supposed to be my back, but I never make it my back because it's got the screw part, and I'm like, oh, that would make more sense that that's like my back. Okay. I sincerely hope I'm starting this off in the right spot because I'm not counting. And I'm just kind of being super lazy about it. And also I didn't block anything off.
Sounds like you're the type of person who does a crossword in pen.
Yeah, but that's because I do pencil. Also, they make erasable pens, okay?
They do.
It's more like I've been doing this since I was like 7. And so I'm just very, very lazy about it.
It's not that you trust your abilities. You've just done it the proper way too many times and you're bored of that.
Yeah, and if I screw it up, my mom will help me fix it. So then it becomes her problem and not mine, and then I don't have to care. God damn it. Will you behave? This is the hardest part, is getting a brand new hoop to stay. I'm telling you. Oh my God.
I've only just started embroidery in the last few months, and I think I did actually one project actually like in the hoop, And after that first one, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to hold it. It's fine. I don't care if the tension is weird.
Unfortunately, with cross stitch, you cannot hold it and get your stitches straight.
That's true.
Not possible. I also need to, my mom taught me this trick where you can, like, put stitches around as like a border around this, and it keeps the fabric from pulling. But my mom's like, or you could just make sure your stitches are perfectly straight. And I was like, I haven't done anything straight in my life up to now. Not starting now. So it's just not possible, Mom. Sorry.
It would be easier to move a mountain.
Yeah, I'm going to redo this because this doesn't look great to me. With the hoop the correct way. I'm like, nope, don't like this. This is bad. This is so bad. Jeez. Okay. Also don't know where I put my safety pins to get the rest of the fabric out of my way, so this is going to be a wild ride from start to finish.
There we go. That's what that was stuck on.
What are you making? What are you making?
I am making a grafkin for my daughter. I made one for my son when he turned a year old, and she is turning a year old in June. So like, right, I should probably get working on that again. Because I started it while I was pregnant with her. And then, as you do, put it down to work on 15,000 other things.
Yeah.
And now, finally working on it again. But it is a little animated style octopus.
Oh. I swear to God, I'm going to murder this hoop. It's going to be the first casualty of COVID-19 in my household. I'm telling you.
Hopefully the only.
I mean, for real. I've moved past the anxiety into rage. It's like,
yeah,
doing real well. Okay. We're going to do this. You're going to work with me. It's going to work. And if not, I'm throwing you in the garbage and ordering a new one off Amazon.
Brandon got engaged.
Brandon got engaged. What? That's weird. Okay. Ta-da! That took 5 minutes.
Congratulations. You did it.
Congrats. I hate myself. Okay. This hoop came with like a nifty little rubber tip for the end of the metal. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's what I dropped. But like, that's amazing. Okay, now so I'm doing different colors than the pattern. And now I have to remember what colors are for what. So.
The thing that annoys me the most when I do that is if one of the other colors I'm using is the same as one of the colors already on the pattern, but it's not in the same place, because I always autopilot and then I realize I've been using the wrong color for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'm doing, my cousin is getting married at Disney. And so I'm doing a Disney castle with a silhouette of Mickey and Minnie. Like, and a heart.
Oh, that's nice.
I got the pattern off Etsy. It's like a digital download pattern. And I always do that because I can put them on my phone. And then I can enlarge the sections as big as I need to. on the PDF. So it like makes it so easy.
There we go.
And so my best friend helped me pick out colors because I wanted to do the Cinderella colors for the castle because the pattern was in purples. And I was like, I don't want to do purples. I want to do, you know, something a little bit more neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps that my cousin's favorite character is Donald Duck. So blue will be reminiscent of Donald Duck.
Yes.
So. I also haven't cross-stitched in like almost a year, so we'll see how I do. Other than when I taught my best friend how to cross-stitch. She helped me pick out colors, and I helped her pick out a pattern and like a kit because she's never cross-stitched before. And I was like, don't buy too many supplies in case you hate it, but like I think you're gonna love it. And so she got like this hummingbird kit, and it's really cute, and I want the pattern. I should have taken a picture.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Good. How
Good. How
are
are
you?
you?
Good. Saw you guys were live, and I was like, oh, let me pop in.
Yeah. I'm setting my my stuff up. Okay. I am finally all set up to start stitching. That's exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, I have to pull my pattern up.
Just
So
continuing my
this
diamond
is
painting. So.
the pattern. That's my pattern.
Oh, that's so pretty.
That's beautiful.
But I'm doing it in blues. But it's an engagement present, so.
Oh. My brother-in-law just got engaged. I'm trying to find a diamond painting to do for them. It probably won't be done by the time the wedding is, but you know.
If it takes you long enough, it can be a first anniversary present.
It might have to be. Or like a Christmas present.
Yeah.
You know, like, sorry. But they live in a different state anyway, so it won't be a problem.
This is for their bridal shower, which was supposed to be the end of April, and I don't know if it's happening anymore because we live in New Jersey.
Yeah. I should be visiting New Jersey in July. Let's hope it still works, but
I'm supposed to be at Disney at their wedding in July, so. And I've never been to Disney.
Yeah.
I got the right size needles at least for once. Usually I buy too big of needles.
Apparently my cat wants to say hi. Oh, okay, I guess she doesn't. She likes the spot behind the camera. Okay.
My one cat will probably hop up and try to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
She's been doing that every stream.
Oh my gosh. Every time I'm sitting at this table, she hops up here. Every time.
So what's your diamond painting?
Oh, sorry. It's of a dragon.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's a really cool
Yeah.
image.
Yeah, I found it randomly on Amazon. Because I heard about diamond painting from a YouTube video. I don't remember who, of course. But I was like, you know what? Let's do that. I got 2 days before I had to go into quarantine. So I'm like, that works. That's fine.
That was my other option for what I was gonna do tonight because my brother bought me a unicorn dabbing diamond painting. It's my first one.
That is awesome. This is my first one, and I'm really enjoying it. So definitely gonna be doing more.
There's this diamond painting of a chicken, and it's like genuinely just a terrible picture. But my husband and I have like this inside joke about chickens, and so I was like, we need this. And then somebody that I'm friends with on Instagram went to a restaurant, and that exact, like the painting version of the diamond painting was in that restaurant, and I'm like, oh.
That is hilarious. Oh my goodness. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was like,
excited
it's
though.
I have to own it.
I ordered a custom diamond painting for my husband, which I'm super excited for. It's one of the advertisements for Cyberpunk 2077. I think that's the name of it. It's a video game that's coming out in December that he's super excited for.
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
awesome.
you know what? Why not? Because he's always looking at posters for video games, but I'm like, well, I mean, make one, you know?
Yeah.
But that's going to take a while to get here. It's at 12 to 30 days. I'm like, great. So we might be out of this quarantine by then, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I really
Looking
hope so.
likely.
I'd like to get back to work.
My husband and I work from home, so we're still working.
I wish I was, but my work can't really be done online. I'm their front desk, so I do all their transactions and whatnot. But I don't deal with rentals or anything. I just help people do their drop-ins.
Yeah.
So it's not really feasible. Oh, I hear a kitty.
Yeah, she's like, I'm starving. Why don't you feed me? Even though you already fed me a little bit. And I know I don't eat until like a little later because I'm fat and I need a diet.
I get her.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right for a cat.
Till the morning. I'm just gonna do it again.
Yeah, my cat's literally sitting right behind the camera. I'm like, great. Every time I'm up here, you want to be right next to me, but not now.
I went on a Zoom call yesterday after work with so my dorm has like this family system, and once you graduate there's like a Facebook group, and so like the Facebook group had a Zoom meeting and a Zoom call, and I was like, I'm gonna go do that because that sounds fun. And it was people I had never met before because they were from like they had graduated in the 90s and early 2000s, and I had graduated in 2011. And
goodness.
and my husband was hiding under a blanket right here in this empty space next to me, but it just looked like a pile of a blanket. And
Yeah.
I go, and he also went to my college and lived in my dorm. And so I was like, and this is my husband. And I pull back the blanket and he shrieks. And he has like this really high pitched voice when he wants to. And they're all like, oh, there's a person there. And I was
There. Oh my god.
It's a great first impression.
That is. It's wonderful.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I was counting. Sorry.
I'm Kaylin.
I'm Heather.
I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Lindsay.
Close enough, right?
Do I sound okay? I was told the last time I tried to do one of these, I sounded like a robot.
No, you
Since
sound
my
pretty good.
You sound distinctly human.
Yes.
Okay.
So far.
Yes. It could change.
There's always room for your secret identity to be revealed later.
Yep. Well, I'm actually a robot.
Why do you do this to me, Thread? What did I ever do to you except love you and want to give you a home?
So I see diamond painting and embroidery?
Cross stitch. Close.
Project? Yes. One good thing.
It is a bridal shower present.
Mm.
And I am crocheting, even though it's off screen. It's just a fairly large project.
I am sewing in ends for these dishcloths I think I made like last summer.
No.
Yeah, all of my projects that need their ends still sewn in are hiding in a end table that has storage. I think I probably have 5 or 8 projects in there.
Last May, when they did that whole like empty your work in progress, like cash project.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of projects on my back burner that I hadn't started yet, and it went really well. And so I'm kind of looking forward to doing that again this year.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
I originally wasn't planning on doing it or, in fact, really doing much crafting this spring because we were supposed to be moving 2 days from now, but that obviously fell apart about 2 weeks ago. So now all of my crafting supplies, except what I'm currently working with, are in boxes in the corner of my living room. So I need to very strategically figure out which boxes to open and what things to pull out.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Sorry.
Shoot!
What happened?
Oh no, did you mess up?
I spilled all my. No, I just spilled all my diamonds.
Oh no.
Did they give you many
No, they gave me 1 packet for each, so I'm just
Okay.
trying to put them back.
You have carpet.
This is fun. Yes, that's the problem.
Okay.
Luckily, it landed on the table mostly. Grandpa, don't laugh at me.
You can't use the tool to pick some of them up?
Well, it's a tiny tool. It's not.
Ah.
It's just laughing. It's just.
Like kids do.
No, not the second time. Like the third time. It's pretty good. I've been doing it over a week, so. Yeah, I can get the rest of those.
I don't know how I would do that.
That's okay. I got it, Grandma. It's
What
fine.
is that?
Oh, a bent tip tapestry needle
Oh.
to weave in ends versus just flat.
Oh.
It makes it much more enjoyable.
One of my best friends bought me yarn, and I was like, I'm finally going to learn how to crochet. And I bought needles on sale at Christmas time and everything. And then it turned out that I am so hopeless at learning how to crochet that it's just not, it's a futile endeavor for me. And to the point where my mom was trying to teach me, and my mom has been crocheting like her entire life, and she's in her 60s, and I broke her, and she had to take the thing from me and be like, and remember how to crochet in order to be like, this is what you're doing wrong. And I was like, okay.
Got most of them. I got it. I'll pick it. I can't remember if I was trying to put it away or what. Much fun. I had to go back at it, so I'm just like, great. Literally just a whole.
And it's always when people are watching.
I don't know if they are. Let me look. No. Does not tell me anybody is watching. Oh, somebody is. Somebody said hi. I don't know how long ago though.
That was me, my YouTube, before I came in.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if I was going to join it, then I'm like, I'm bored. I'm like, yeah, I'll join. Yeah, that was just me.
Yeah, I need to like talk to people today. I live alone and I have not been having the greatest day today.
Yeah. See, I live with my grandfather and my husband, but I like not talking to them sometimes, you know, like talking to other people is nice.
Yeah.
I learned yesterday that I had to set rules for when my husband was allowed to talk to me and when he wasn't, when I'm working. Hello, baby. Hello. Oh yeah. Show your butt to the camera. Yep. That's exactly what you should do on a webcam. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm joking.
Hi, Kara. I saw your face for a second. So this is Eris. Hello, Eris. And the other one will never be seen on stream because she is an independent kitty who don't need us. But anyway, so my husband tried talking to me after I came back from lunch. And I was like, do I ever talk to you by text when I come back from lunch? Or do I not talk to you again for like an hour and a half? Like, stop. Just stop talking to me. Like, I have a schedule. It's how I'm productive.
It's funny. I've gone to going into a separate room than him, so I don't get annoyed with him. It's like, I'm gonna go to a different room.
We can't do that because our desks are right next to each other for work, because we're both working from home. But
Yeah.
we worked a lot better today than
That's
yesterday. Partially, I think, because I wasn't as grumpy from it snowed yesterday and then rained, and so I was like very grumpy from allergies.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah. So.
I get really grumpy when I'm cold, so.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's why I live in a hot place.
What state do you live in?
Speaking of hot, it's the light makes it hot in here, so I gotta go turn on the fan. Hold on.
Hey, Kara, what are you making?
I'm working on my scarf.
Nice.
I'm into another color in it. And I'm eating goldfish.
Yo, I want M&Ms, but I have no M&Ms, and I'm very upset about this because I'm not going to the store.
Come here. Why are you being shy? You're never like this. Come here. Come on.
Oh, kitty. Such a fluffy kitty. We are now experiencing technical difficulties.
I didn't have the headphone on, so I tried to put it on, but it was underneath her, so it scared her.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Ah. That's just how today's going. It's because my Bluetooth headphones are dead, so can't really use those.
So does everybody here live in the U.S.?
No,
Oh, where do you live?
I live in Ontario, in Canada.
Nice.
I've been there. It was in like 2004, but
I've only been to Toronto.
well,
I
technically it was
live
only
2 hours
Ontario.
away from Toronto.
I was technically in London, Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for a. Weird fact, I've had a kidney transplant when I was 2. So we have these things called the transplant games. And so the World Games in 2004 or 2005, I don't remember, was in Canada. And that was the one I went to. So
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, and there's games this summer in New Jersey. So let's hope it works out. A little stressing about that because I'd like to go. I
Where
haven't
in
been
New
in
Jersey are the
6
games?
years. So
I can see why they'd be extra cautious, especially to maybe not have those though.
yes, and I understand that. That's why I'm keeping track of the eastern part of the country just to see how they're doing, just to see progress and whatnot. It doesn't help that there's a book festival happening like the weekend after, which if I go, I'm staying for. So, like 2 big things happening at the same time.
Well, New Jersey moved into the second hardest hit spot today. Obviously, New York being the most hit, and then New Jersey second most hit. But
Yeah.
New York has way more cases than we do.
Yeah. So yeah, stressing a little bit, but I'm trying to stay calm, not worry too much. I've been pretty good at staying at home, so.
I think I'm gonna go crazy. They're being proactive here, and we started stay at home today in my county, and they said we're gonna peak in 30 days, according to their estimations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're talking
So-
9 months here.
It's gonna be like
I've
a
heard
month.
it'd be done by May. I've heard June. I've heard everything.
Well, no, like in my area, that's what they're.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that like they think our peak cases will be in a month, and they're being really proactive.
Which is
Honestly,
good.
that's better.
good.
Because it's so bad. It's so bad here.
Yeah. Well, this is what I read today. They're like, oh, we think we'll have like 300 cases at once, and we don't have that large of a hospital. It is also, I think, it's level 3 or level 2. I think it's level 3, maybe level 2. Might be level 3. But so it can't really it doesn't have a lot of ICU beds. So
Yeah. Yeah, so you have
Such a
to.
fun time.
Bergen County in New Jersey is the general area where I live. And I grew up in Bergen County, and they have multiple huge name hospitals. And it's so bad here. And then the county I live in is not as hard hit, but has some huge hospitals, and they're being just as badly hit. So it's just absolutely terrible here.
Yeah, where I am specifically, it hasn't been hit really bad yet, but my husband's already been off work for a week. Like they shut everything down in our province like a week ago. And just the other day put it down to like actually just essentials. I think in my area, there's been less than 10 cases total. So it's not bad so far, but
yeah, I
obviously
think
it's only going up.
Yeah.
That's what's in my county. The next county over has like 40 cases, which is like a third of what's in the state right now.
Yeah. Well, I know that like the closest city near me, being Toronto, is getting hit fairly bad as far as Canada goes. So with that only being a few hours away, it's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
So we're all just hiding in our homes and being good citizens and crafting our craft and watching our TV shows.
Yeah.
I work for a bank, so I'm essential services. But also my job can be done from home. But other people, like they've relocated people. They've closed like all the corporate, because we have corporate headquarters like all over. And they've closed the corporate headquarters as much as possible. But not everybody has the capability to work from home. So they've relocated people to branches, and they've closed every branch that can't do drive-through, and relocated those people as well. So like they're not laying anybody off. They're like, don't worry, you're going to be taken care of. If you can't get to the branch that you're assigned because public transportation ends up shut down, like let us know, and we'll accommodate as much as we can. And like so they're being really, really good to us.
That's good.
To be honest, I'm not really sure how it's doing here. I'm trying not to freak out.
Trying not to focus on it.
Yeah, because of my lowered immune system and more at risk sort of thing. So it's just trying to stay calm. I know we had, in my state, there was 82 more cases in one day. So we had about 300 cases, 400 cases in total. So, yeah. At least that's the last I heard. I don't know exactly, but like I said, I try not to. I try to, you know, I inform myself every few days.
Yeah.
So at least I'm informed, but I'm not. Like my grandpa has it on the TV all the time, so I mostly have headphones on, like having a book on or something.
I make sure I don't let myself look at the news more than twice a day, because the first few days I was spending the whole day just like reading through headlines and looking at videos, and it pushed me off the edge. I was like, no, I need to step back. I need to keep on keeping on. And I mean, the news is going to happen whether I look at it or not. I'll get the big updates later.
Yeah.
And there's, I can't remember if it's a TikTok page or a YouTube channel where they're only doing positive things that are going good. And so I'll watch that a little bit, you know, have some positive in it. But
I've found myself following more and more cat Instagrams and dog Instagrams and things like that.
yes,
Oh,
same.
one of my favorite things currently, there is a local store that has a cat, and they have been live streaming feeding the cat on Instagram recently.
That's
Because
lovely.
they are in the store converting to online only, and they were doing curbside pickup. I guess they are also actually, they have a YouTube channel. It mostly has unboxing videos currently, and I think they're going to be doing more on it, and possibly including the cat.
Ooh,
That's fantastic.
I think it's just the store name, Wonder Fair.
okay.
Because and it's my favorite store ever.
It's funny because I applied for all these jobs right before this hit, and I'm like, great, I'm not going to hear from them for a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
It's like I have a job, but I was looking for a second part-time or a full-time sort of thing. So,
Yeah, I had been doing interviews because we were planning on moving. I got a job on the Thursday, and then by the Monday they called me and they were like, yeah, so that job fell through because we basically have to shut down, so we're not hiring anymore.
it's like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Because my first day was supposed to be next week, Monday.
Mm.
But they did say that once it all blows over, that there will be a job there for me if I want it. So that's nice at least.
Yeah, that's happening to a lot of people, I think. Why all the golf balls?
Oh, my grandpa helps his friend when he's out of town, and he found all these in his backyard. In his friend's backyard. And he just came in here and just pulled them out of his pockets and showed me. I'm like, what? Apparently it's a couple days worth. Still, I was confused. I was like, okay,
He likes golf.
yeah. No, he most likely lives near a golf course. That's where a lot of us nearby live, where I'm at. Like even my old house, I would find golf balls in my front yard, and the golf course was right down the road. So I'm used to it. It's just weird to see so many at one time.
Yeah. Oh man, I got up at the grocery store because
Broke up, so
my
you
job
should
was selling food at sporting events for the local college. We don't have any of those.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how it's gonna go next year. If they're like, we need to have no big crowds for a year. So we'll see if they have college football.
Yeah.
But yeah, my boss has sent a link saying I have, and that's fine because I don't like my boss. My boss sent a news article about unemployment, not a link to the actual unemployment site, and then said that the parent company, I work for Centerplate, and our parent company is Sodexo, and said that there's a site that she is going to find and email us that says, so, because Sodexo has contracts with hospitals in the area, if they need help at hospitals. Yeah, I don't want to cook or clean at a hospital, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
I would rather have some kind of money. I would rather just get a bonus, please.
Yeah. That's not even feasible because like not everybody can, some people are plenty healthy for some jobs and not healthy enough to like be able to work in a hospital.
Yeah.
I also don't think they have the contract for my local hospital, so it'd be in a hospital that currently has more cases in the bigger county. That's like at least a half-hour drive from me, and I don't even have a car. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
no.
Oh, I found out I'm gonna get paid for the last 2 weeks though. Either way, part-time or not. So that's nice.
That is good.
Got an email about that today. Because I work for a city recreation facility. And I was ready to use my sick time because I have a ton of it and we restart in July anyway, so I wasn't worried about it. And I'd used maybe 10 hours at most, and we have 40 at least. So that's nice. I heard that. We're not sure about the rest of the time yet. They said they'll update us, but yeah, we'll see. Luckily, I have all my boss's personal numbers, so I can be like, hey, how's it going? How are you at the office, Because they're nice, luckily. They still have to go in. But there's no public at the facility at all. So at least I think they might have got moved to in-home. I don't remember. I kind of don't pay attention to the full-time emails.
As soon as I found out I was going to be working from home indefinitely, I set up a streaming schedule and was like, well, this is my social time now.
And whatever works.
So I started streaming Friday night with a movie night. And then, which I will post details every Friday night on how to join that in the chat if I remember. But there's a chance of us streaming Onward.
Yes. I saw that. It is so good.
My friend has a copy of, because they're doing $20 rentals now for
right.
big releases, and
20?
Yeah, because you're gonna share it with people, so they jacked the price. Plus, also, my husband made the point that like if you're a family of 4, which is probably what they base the price on, it's $5 per person, so it is cheaper than a movie, like going to the movie theater.
Yeah, that's just more expensive than I'd seen it. I think I saw I looked up one movie and it wasn't. It was like regular price for a rental.
Yeah, these are only for ones that should still be in theaters. So Onward, and there's like 2 others, and they're available basically anywhere.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know what I did. What did I do, and how do I fix you? Oh, come on. I almost had you.
Crafting drama.
Knots are the bane of my existence. This one, I'm pretty sure happened because everything's so tangled. I don't know why this thread is being so mean to me. This thread does not want to become a project. I need a magnifying glass. I'm too old for this. I'm gonna have to cut it. It's so ow! Oh, I stabbed myself so hard. Ow.
Ouch.
Okay. Okay. This is over. I'm done with you. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see. My foot fell asleep.
I was about to go all dad joke on that for a second. I'm a little tired. I shouldn't be. I slept well, but I don't even know what time it is, so. Let's see. Almost 6 o'clock, not too. Oh, well, I found something. Oh, it was a golf ball.
There we go.
I'm getting lost in this project right now. I have at least 20 different little clothespins with yarn on them, and they're all just turning into a tangle. And I'm trying to figure out which one has the thread I'm supposed to cut.
Yeah. Tapestry crochet?
I'm doing a grafkin.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's what that technique's called.
I have no idea. I've never heard that wording of it before.
Or that's the one where I think. Yeah, I think that's what I read. But yeah, I've done that once.
This is the mess I'm working with right now.
The
Just
technique here.
all of this.
So many.
Kara, show us your yarn.
That many.
What?
Show us your yarn.
I'm using silver right now, silver glitter.
Ooh, that's nice. It looks like a mermaid.
It's pretty nice yarn. This is the stuff I got off of Etsy. like a month and a half ago from out in Colorado's hand dyed. I have another different, the mini skein. It's one of 5 colors that came with it, for like $20. And I was like, yeah, sure. It's 100 grams of yarn total, which I'm awful with measurements. So of course I bought like 2 because I was like, that doesn't seem like a lot. So now I have a lot of yarn that I need to use. Realistically, like I used pretty much all the teal. So that's what's on the bottom here, and that's like that's like a foot and a half. So I have 4 more of different colors, which means I probably won't need to use all 5 in that first mini ski pack. So now I just have a lot of glitter yarn that I need to figure out what to do with. But I want to finish this before I start making other things.
Yeah.
I actually spent earlier tonight before dinner, I got a notebook, and as I was cleaning today on my day off, I started categorizing and like taking stock of all the things that I started for knitting and crocheting projects, and I have 7 so far. I'm sure it's not all of them. So I'm really trying to finish 1 or 2 things this week. I'm not on quarantine because I have to go to work still. I'm just off today. So.
See, my mother-in-law, when she passed away, we found all of her. I can't remember if she knitted, crocheted, but I ended up with one of her projects, which has the template for it and like a third of a blanket done.
Oh, you should.
But I don't know how to do it at all. It comes with all the yarn and everything. Because I want to learn. Huh?
Honest, I can crochet very little. I knit much better than I crochet.
I can't remember which one it is.
I looked on YouTube to teach me stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Blankets are usually crochet because it's easier to do it that way than knitting.
Yeah.
Probably. Like I said, I don't know much, but it was one of her projects she was working on when she passed away.
Highly likely it's crochet.
Most likely. And I want to finish it. I don't have kids yet, and I don't plan to for the next few years, but I'd like to finish it and take my child's photos in it for my husband because it was his mom. So it's just kind of a special thing.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet.
I'm gonna bring, because she did a bunch of like shawls and sweaters and stuff. I'm gonna bring one out to show you guys.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I have stabbed myself so far 2 times, and I'm only on my 4th row.
No bueno.
Bye, kitty. Come on, bye, daddy. She's like, you're not patting me. You're moving around a lot. I don't appreciate this.
All right, I'm back. This is a sweater. I'm trying to find the end of it.
It looks crocheted, maybe.
I'll have to look at the pattern. It says it on there, but
I thought sweaters were usually knitted.
Well, the holes on there.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's
Okay.
Nah, crochet.
yeah, that's just, and I ended up with them because I'm the only one that'll fit in them and use them because I get cold easily and she got cold easily. So we kind of, it just makes sense.
Well, could you like hold it still near the camera?
Yeah, let me move my camera back. I won't be able to hear you, just so you know. So I'll put it back.
Oh, yeah, actually, I don't even need to see it. It really looks like crochet.
It's pretty much, yeah. Knitting doesn't look like that.
No.
You can see the rows. I think it's half double.
was gonna say maybe a double crochet.
My grandma would know more.
Yeah, my mom would know. I'm clueless.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to see from a picture.
it really is. Like I said, I don't remember.
No, oh no, it's
Like,
definitely crochet.
Yet.
I just have not memorized what all the stitches look like in fabric and in different yarns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only made like 1.5 things in my life, and I was on the struggle bus. So I
Yeah.
usually just stick to knitting.
I've tried to learn, like my grandmother tried to show me, and I have joint problems, and my hands just don't move the way they should. So it's kind of a struggle bus. I'm used to it though, so it's not a big deal to me. But I want to either have someone finish it or preferably me learn how to do it, and I can finish that blanket. It's like a green and brown, like earthy tones. It's really pretty. I really like it. We split up her projects that she had between the sister-in-laws, the daughters and daughter-in-laws. I happened to get that one, which was the most done anyways, so that helps a little bit.
Who's listening to Spanish?
Oh, my bad. So I have nailed it. The Spain edition, and I just plugged in my phone because it had a low battery, so it turned off the camera. So I just plugged in with my USB, and I totally like just propped my phone on my laptop. Didn't think about the fact that I have background noise on. Here, let me turn it off.
It's fine, we were just confused for a second.
She studied
No, it's been
abroad in Spain for a semester.
Sorry about that. I really forgot that this was by the speaker that I just put my phone on. I gotta say though, out of all the different versions, because I like to watch Nailed It, but the English one I think is
I
probably
just
the best.
forgot what I was looking for. Oh,
I haven't watched the German one yet. Somebody told me they just released it at the end of February, but I've watched the French. I've watched part of the Mexican Nailed It, and I'm working my way through Spain.
Is that the cooking one?
Yeah.
It's the cooking fails one.
It's really funny. Nailed it or failed it.
oh, that one, yeah.
It stresses me out, so I can only watch about an episode and a half max at a time. So it's such slow going because I'm just yelling at the TV a lot. Because some of it just seems so basic to me. Because when I started cooking, I treated it like crafting. And I'm pretty good at looking at stuff and just going, oh, I know how to make that. I might not make it well, but I know how to make it. And so
the best parts in the commentary, the commentary that goes on between the judges, and the host and the people, that makes it 10 times funnier. I dig this virtual craft night. It makes me work on my project.
Yeah.
yeah, it made me start mine.
I would like to finish one thing this week before Sunday night. That stupid amigurumi taco is still sitting on the floor because I don't know what to do with it. I've already checked it out a couple times. That's a half-made, half-deflated taco with no dressings, just some ground beef and some eyes. But again, it was crochet, and I tried to teach myself a couple times, and I had to figure it out.
That's very ambitious.
I didn't think it'd be that hard. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be, and I don't ever crochet really at all. So
I've been crocheting for years. I have never felt like making an animal or any stuffed thing It's just too much, not enough reward. Nope. No need.
I was trying to make it for a Valentine's Day present for somebody, and I didn't give myself enough time, and I essentially was like, oh, I could do this in like 2 days, except I had never crocheted really anything in my life. Besides a double crochet for a blanket that I made for somebody, and that was it. And I didn't buy the right yarn, which I had already said, I just kind of impulse buy yarn, and I'm like, what do I make with it after I buy it? So I had a nice yellow yarn with a taco shell, and it wasn't the right weight, so then it was see-through and stuff through the stitches. So then I was like, well, maybe it's for like inside like a second smaller shell so I can stuff that, and then that failed, and then I put in the eyes, but at least the eyes aren't crooked. I did the ground beef, and I tried to do the left potato, so it's not the end. Maybe like in a craft session, once I finish this, I'll try to work on it more. Because it has the potential to be very cute. I just love it.
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. Yay, I counted right.
Time to get up and stretch. I've been sitting here for an hour.
I need to go hang my laundry. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
So Katie said that her phone died and she doesn't have an outlet to charge it near her craft.
Who was that?
Katie, the person doing the diamond painting, who was talking about the mother-in-law's project she got.
Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, people can join and leave whenever they want, so, you know, I can keep this running for another 2 hours before I have to go to bed.
Well, I like crafting in bed because I have my back pillow. I have all my charging cables. I have my laptop, so I watch something. By the way, can I tell you, I watched Dracula on Netflix the past day, and it was awful.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Oh no, somebody else just dropped out.
Oh no.
There she is.
I'm trying to disconnect. This is not working.
Okay. I don't know what was going on there.
I just missed something.
Kaylin, was trying to disconnect and was having trouble.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping more people join us as it gets later. People said that they could join after 9, so.
Okay.
I'm good to continue pretty much until my daughter wakes up to nurse. So that could be any time between now and 2 a.m.
I was saying I'm good to stream until 11 Eastern. Because then I have to go to bed. Because I'm expected to work normal hours, which is even though it's from home, which is 8 to 5. So
Gotcha.
I need a reasonable amount of sleep, and it takes me at least an hour to fall asleep. So. I've been falling asleep between midnight and 1:30 in the morning.
That's me every day.
I forgot how much holding a hoop hurts my hand. Like, I know I'll get used to it, but it really hurts when you first start doing it.
Mhm.
Oof. This is okay. So when I stitch, I try not to count. Like, it's called counted cross stitch. But what I do is I count my first line, and I like triple check to make sure I count the first line right. And then I base everything off that. So like I started my first line and it was 3 rows of the exact same thing. So I was like, okay. And then the next 2 rows were, or the next row was the same thing except 1 less. And I was like, okay, well that's easier to remember than 21 and like count it. So I'm like staring at my line and I'm like, okay, so this is minus what? So
That's exactly how I do my crocheting, especially for the graphkins, because there's so many different color changes to try and count each individual section all the way across the row and then count all the way back and make sure you haven't accidentally counted one more or one less. And also doing it just compared to the line before makes it so that any mistakes I do make don't actually look like anything because it's all just compared to each other. So
yeah.
it's a lot more forgiving.
Yeah, that's for me too. It also means that I'm pretty good at figuring out where I went wrong if I do go wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was weird teaching my friend how to stitch and like trying to explain that like I don't count every row. I just go by like, oh, this is 2 skip 1, 1 skip 1, 2. And it's like, I just know to do that, but that's what makes me good at patterns. Is because it's the same, like, you know, like those, like we were playing Trivia Murder Party on Jackbox the other day, and one of the things is like,
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
yeah, and so you have to like remember the pattern, and it's like, well, this is why I'm good at remembering the pattern.
Yeah.
Kara, what are you doing?
Telling Caitlin to come craft with us.
Oh, yeah. You can, if you go to the chat and you go to the ellipses, which is like the 3 dots, there's like an options, and you can copy the link and she can join.
Oh, I thought she was in here. Okay.
No, I didn't add her.
Mm-hmm.
But she should.
So I'm sending her the YouTube link.
No, you're gonna.
Oh, she's movie watched.
In the Hangouts, if you want her to join the chat.
Top.
Yeah, so in the chat, go to the top and then in options you can copy and paste the link and she can join our chat. And then she can join the call. She can use Tim's streaming stuff.
Oh. I'm an idiot. How do I get invitation preference?
It's in options. So like you should see like people options and settings or whatever. It's in options. You can also copy and paste it from my comment in the group, in the Facebook group.
That might be easier. Jeez. Said she's watching a movie with Tim.
Yeah. Tell her she should be doing stuff with us instead.
So I said, I was like, come craft. And she's like, what? I was like, dude, we're having crafting night. So I said, yeah. Okay. Copy, paste.
So your picture goes black and then it's just a lot of tapping.
No, that's because I'm texting.
That's why I was like, what are you doing? It sounded so weird.
That is super weird because I don't have like the keyboard thing on, but I guess if it's from speaker, I guess if I'm directly tapping the phone.
Yeah, I think that's why. So Kara and the other person we're talking about, Caitlin, and I all went to college together. That's how we met. Ow, fuck! Oh. That one hurt, okay? I like really stabbed my finger. Oh,
I'm
that
sorry.
really hurt. Oh. Oh. That one felt like it should have put me to sleep for 100 years. Jesus. But anyway, yeah, so the three of us met in college and we're all friends in real life. Like best friends.
It's pretty nifty.
It does look pretty lofty.
Yeah, good. She joined our group.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Prop my phone up. Ooh. Alright. That's the struggle.
So I totally thought my husband's birthday was next Tuesday, but it's next Monday.
Is this better? Kind of. My dad's birthday is on Thursday.
My husband's birthday was this past Friday.
How did you celebrate?
Because it was before we went into like basically full lockdown, we had gone to his mom's house for lunch and got takeout from the restaurant that he usually works at and went to her house to eat it for lunch. And then we had a little dinner at the house just with one of our other friends we had invited over. But it was just a quiet in the house night.
That's really
And my birthday is in exactly 3 weeks from today,
When's your birthday?
April 14th.
Mine's on the 20th.
Nice.
And sadly, neither of us will probably be celebrating.
My husband asked me yesterday what I wanted for my birthday. I was like, well, I would appreciate about an hour and a half to myself with no children. And he just laughed at me. Like, yeah, good luck getting that, especially in the current situation. Yeah, that's not happening unless they're asleep. And if you can get both of them to sleep for an hour and a half, you're a miracle worker.
How old are your children?
We've got a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old.
Ooh, you are
It's
not
definitely
getting enough.
Go to a park for 2 hours.
Guys, I'm in love with this yarn and I fall more in love with it every row.
Hi, new person. I see
Hi.
your profile
Heidi
picture.
wants to go first.
Hi, person.
Megan. Hi, Megan. How are you? We cannot hear you. Are you trying? If you're trying to talk, we can't hear you. And we got another new person. Hi, new person.
Yay.
Hi. What craft are you working on?
Me personally, I'm going to be doing some quilting.
Ooh.
Nice. If you hear me randomly curse on screen, it's because I have stabbed myself in the finger rather terribly. Because that's already happened once. So.
Well, I don't know if you can tell, I have a bandage on my finger because I ripped my fingernail pretty badly, like a week and a half ago. And it's ripped like down to the quick where it snags on stuff because I can't cut it short enough. So I just keep wrapping tape on it, and because I have to keep washing my hands, I have to change the tape like super often.
Ugh, that's the worst.
Oh, I had 4 months. I cut my fingernail down, like at the very bottom, and I had to wait for 5 months for it to grow all the way to the top.
Wow.
It was
Mine.
so many bandages. Let's see, which one I like the best? There were water ones from
Nextcare?
Yes.
Those are the only bandages, like Band-Aids, that I can use because all the other ones, the adhesive on them absolutely rips up my skin. What I have on my finger currently is a very specialized, very expensive tape for diabetic skin, which
That
is
would
also
be
what
useful.
all the other tapes that I can use for the same reason.
Yes, I also just recently bought, they stopped making the waterproof bandages I like, Nextcare did. So I bought, they have waterproof tape. Where did it go? Ah, found it. But that probably won't be great either.
Interesting.
But they stopped.
Like the clear waterproof bandages, they stopped making those?
No, not those ones. They make.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
make
those are the only ones that I can use.
Okay, they still get made those ones, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I so many of those ones scraped up my hands at the same time. But no, they had some that were like extra cushiony that were also kind of waterproof, but not as waterproof as those ones. But this stuff works almost as good. It just doesn't have a bandage part. But yeah, the adhesive probably would work great for you.
Yeah. Nothing
You can
would be
always-
super simple medically.
Yeah, on the topic of Band-Aids, I have recently started getting extreme, like, almost burning reactions from the adhesive on Band-Aid brand Band-Aids.
That's what
So,
does it to me. Yeah.
Like, I've got a welt on like, this part of my arm currently because, also being a diabetic, I had to, like, put a bandage over top of my Libre sensor so it didn't fall off. And the bandage and the adhesive from the sensor both decided to burn my arm. So,
Well, this stuff is called Medipore, Medipore,
okay.
and it's specially made for diabetic skin. But it is kind of pricey.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Like, and you have to get it at medical supply stores. Like, you can't just go to Target, Walmart, standard, corporate type places. You have to go to a legitimate medical supply store, which I'm sure places right now are overrun.
Yes, I'm
Apocalypse
sure. But
supplies
I'll
include
definitely write the
supplies.
name down for later, for sure.
I believe it's made by 3M, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I just know that my podiatrist introduced me to it in wound care like years ago, and I fell in love with it because it stays on really well and it doesn't rip up my skin.
That's good. That's really good.
I'm trying to decide what to work on. I have a project that is stalled because it's frustrating me and I really don't want to try to address it, so I'm going to start something new.
That's fair.
Progress.
That's like so relatable though.
Like, it's the paper Cthulhu that I've been working on for a friend. Like, I've got the head outline done with the like tentacles on the face, but the technique that I was going to use to fill in the head is called honeycomb. But I suck at it, number one, and number two, because I suck at it, I hate the way it looked. So I had to abandon doing it, and I'm trying to figure out what to do in its place. But that's not going so well. So I'm gonna start something else.
Right.
Does anybody else have allergies and was getting side-eyed in the store when you were in there?
Allergies, yes. Side eye, not that I noticed.
I've had a cold for the past month. I'm kind of afraid to go out. I need frequently, just every day.
Like, I've got allergies to the point where, like, I have constant post-nasal drip
Oh yeah, that's been
and
me
my
too.
eyes water. So being told, oh, you can't touch your face, I'm like, but there's like water running down my face, and it's like, I need to do something about that, number one. And number two, because I have really bad post-nasal drip, occasionally I have to like hack up stuff.
Oh yeah.
And now I can't do that in public because people will give me the, she's infected type
Which is
stare.
hilarious because that's a dry cough, not a wet cough.
Exactly, but people are not smart enough to know that. And honestly, I wasn't smart enough to know that until Sunday. Like Saturday, I coughed twice and I was like, oh God, I've got it, that's it, I'm dead. And I woke up to a message from my friend who was like, Erin, you need to calm down, number one. And number two, the virus is a dry cough and it's very deep in your chest. What you have is a wet cough and it's just in your throat. You are fine.
Yeah, I had a secondary bacterial pneumonia 5 months ago, and it sounds a lot like this. So I'm terrified to get it, and I think I'll know the symptoms pretty well.
Me personally, I almost died of double pneumonia in 2009 that they think came as a result of swine flu. I don't think they even bothered to test me for swine flu because they were so positive that I had it. But when I went to the hospital, my blood pressure was in the range for a stroke. My glucose was over 500. My oxygen was like 85. And they told me that normally they didn't see people up and walking around with those numbers. Somebody in my situation should have come in on a gurney unconscious.
Wow.
And I'd been packing up stuff the whole previous week that was gross. And I had fallen down the stairs at a friend's party the weekend before I ended up in the hospital. And so what they think happened is that I caught flu, and because I had landed so hard on the stairs, my lungs might have like bruised up against my rib cage, and that's why they filled up with fluid, which became infected. But I was in the ICU for 2 days and a regular room for 4 more. But whereas normally in a regular room I would have had to share it, since they were so positive that I had swine flu, they're like, we're just going to give you your room. So it kind of worked out good for me. But the bad thing was that this was in a period post-college for me and pre-work. So I didn't have like friends in the area. So I was there essentially by myself. Like, I had to have a friend come down from my hometown to get my dog so that she could be cared for, because once I was in the hospital, they're like, if you leave, it's going to be very bad. If you leave, it will be against medical advice.
Yeah, I was really lucky to not have to go to the hospital, but I tested negative for the flu, but my doctor was convinced I had the flu, and then it turned into pneumonia. So it could have been some other virus. I had 104 fever for like 5 days. It sucked. When I took medicine, it went down to like 100, 101.
So still sucky, just not quite as much.
Yeah, and then that went away, but then I was all sick and sleeping sitting up. And yeah, I don't want to do that again, especially if antibiotics don't work on it.
Yeah. Like, I fall into a high risk category for multiple issues that I have for the virus, but it's like, okay, I live alone, so I can't send anybody out to the store for me. I am like a victim of poverty, so I can't buy like weeks and weeks of groceries at a time. I'm on a lot of medication, so I still have to go to the pharmacy. Like, it's very scary.
In New Jersey, where I am, The Nextdoor app, if you post on it, people will offer to help because I saw that happen on a post. But not only that, there's phone numbers to call for them to help you if you are alone. Because on the Nextdoor app, specifically on one post, this woman was complaining that she probably had coronavirus. They were refusing to test her. She had to self isolate. She lived alone. She was sick, so she probably had it and was displaying symptoms. And she was like, "How do I get food? What do I do? Like, I have nothing. I can't do anything." And people were like, "I will go and drop this off on your doorstep for you, and you can pay me back later because you're not allowed to handle money when you're sick either. So, like, you can't handle anything." And they're like, "I have the money to buy you groceries and you can pay me back later." And she stopped responding, and it was so disconcerting because I was like, do I contact the cops and ask them to do a welfare check on this lady? Because, like, that
Well,
situation
would they
sounded
do a
bad.
welfare check on her if they suspected her of having it? That's another thing.
Well, because there was so few tests. I mean, I have 2 friends who currently have it where they were refused tests. And that one's in Virginia and one's I'm not sure where because she's in another one of my Facebook groups. And she 100% has it. And they said that she was too healthy to test and she had 106-degree fever at one point and is currently running at 104. And I think the only reason why she's not dead right now is because of how healthy she is.
How old?
Late 20s, like early 30s.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, over 104 is very bad.
Yeah,
At that age,
she and died.
I honestly don't know how she didn't die from this already. And it turns out that it can cause pink eye, and she has that. And she posted a video of what she looks like and what happened to her. And, like, she looks so bad. Like, her eye is swollen shut. And they refused to test her. And they just sent her home. And like I said, like, I'm friends with her because we're in a group together on Facebook. So, like, I don't know where she lives. But, like, that's terrifying.
like, does she have anyone
Yeah, I think she's married.
living with her to help her if she stops breathing well?
I mean, isn't that the concern? I think she's married or she's got a boyfriend. Like, I definitely think she's got a support system. And she seems to be doing okay on her own. But, like, the sheer fact that they refuse to test her when she clearly has it is, like, so upsetting. And, like, honestly, like, I had 103-degree fever for 3 days. And by the second day, by the middle of the second day, I was like, okay, you can just take me out back and shoot me. Like, you can just kill me because this is the most awful feeling in the world. Because my fever kept breaking and coming back because I was on antibiotics for another infection. I was like, I won't be able to survive this. Like, I will actually die from this.
Like, for me
Yeah, I
personally,
was
the
at
health
home.
issues that I have. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, it was another pneumonia story. I about went crazy because I was at home for 2 weeks living by myself with my parents having to stop by and heat me up soup because I was so sick I could not heat up soup on the stove.
Yeah.
When I was sick, like, by the day that I went to the hospital, it was taking all of my energy to just lay on the couch and watch my dog, not like actually interact with her or play with her, just keep my eyes open long enough to watch her.
Yeah. I have anemia, high blood pressure, and PCOS, so, like, and the scariest thing is today I realized is that, like, my husband and I could get it, and if I have a mild case and he had a terrible case, even though he's perfectly healthy, he could die from it and I could still survive. Which is what you're seeing is that, like, it's not necessarily that the weakest die, it's that, like, sometimes the strongest have complications too. Like, you're starting to see reports of that, of, like, Olympic athletes who had complications and like it just hit them harder than everybody else in their family.
Like for me, I take between 14 and 19 medicines a day
Wow.
to treat all of my various conditions. And I'm afraid, like now, there are situations in Italy and Spain where they are weighing the care or if people receive care at all based on their like reasonable expectation of recovery. And so because I am disabled and I contribute nothing to society monetarily, and I'm so unhealthy, if I were to get it and the US became a situation like that, they would let me die. 100% they would.
I was just reading Alabama already has it on the books from 2009 and they ratified it in like 2010. And they've already said that like when it becomes an issue in Alabama that they're going by the rules that they created. And it literally is that they will only treat the healthy people who have the greatest chance of surviving. If you had cancer, if you are disabled, if you're this, if you're that, like they ruled out like everybody except the absolute healthiest people. So we already have that in places in the US that they've said this is what our response is going to be.
And of other primary concern to me is that I just had my hearing earlier this month for disability, and while I have health insurance currently, who knows if I'm still going to have that? Who knows if health insurances are going to honor paying for stuff? Like I have an insanely high deductible, and I had a dream last night that I got it, and I begged the hospital staff to let me kill myself so that my mother wouldn't be left with a huge bill.
Yeah.
Like we are in bad times. I mean, I also have mental illness, so that kind of played a role in it a little bit.
I don't think they can legally make your mother pay for it, can they?
No, if you die and you have no next of kin like that, I'm pretty sure they can't. Student loans, however, they will go after anybody in your family.
Yeah, plus a lot of parents co-sign on student loans, so then they're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Well, my mother pays for my health insurance.
Well,
so I don't know if
it
that would
doesn't
play a
matter who
role in it.
pays it as long as it matters more like whose name is it in. Because like my parents could pay my credit card bills, but they're in my name, so if I died, my credit card bills would be non-existent. They can't go after my mom or dad because their names aren't on it.
However, if you were married,
yeah,
don't they can still be spouses.
My husband's fucked.
And this whole entire conversation is one of the main reasons why I'm the happiest that I'm Canadian.
Yeah. Well, when America eventually collapses next year, I will welcome our Canadian overlords because I am sure that's
really going to take till next year. It's not going to take until next year. I'm predicting fall at the latest.
I actually did say that to somebody else. I was like, well, when America falls, I will welcome our Canadian overlords. Because you just know Justin Trudeau swooping in and taking America for himself.
I would welcome him for multiple reasons. No ruler, I guess, is, what's the right word?
Good?
Well, perfect. There is no perfect ruler. Everybody is going to have faults based on something that they do. And there have been, I don't want to say scandals, but people have criticized him over certain things. And I'm like, yes, but do you understand what we're living with down here?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think you do. Because if you did, you would understand that criticizing for these things is so stupid.
I mean, they're valid concerns. It's just that, like, when you look at what we're dealing with.
Well, the internet also does not seem to realize that people change and that people can be sorry for their past actions.
This is true.
I mean, he's broken promises to the indigenous people of Canada.
Yes, I'm
That's
sure.
a pretty
Oh,
big
yes.
deal.
My cousin
no.
actually is not a lobbyist, but she's like a spokesperson. She herself is not part of the Native American community. However, she works for the Native, I'm not sure of the exact specifics, but she is a spokesperson and would go all the way across Canada in different places to make sure that laws are put in place to protect Native communities.
That's a cool
And I
job.
think, I'm trying to remember where she's based. I want to say that it's on the western side of Canada, but I'm not positive.
Like I said,
Oh.
I will welcome Justin Trudeau as my overlord. Especially if it means I get socialized healthcare. So.
Oh, I love how the bill says that you don't have. They passed a bill recently, or at least one of those bills they've been talking about, how you don't have to pay a copay for these tests in the U.S., but you still have to pay your deductible.
Yeah.
So if your deductible, so nothing else kicks in until you meet your deductible, you still have to pay the entire thing.
I thought the bill said that it made the test free to everybody.
It depends by the
What
state.
happened was that I think a senator named Katie Porter essentially badgered the head of the CDC and was like, do you understand how much this is going to cost all the Americans that are going to have to be tested? And she had like an itemized list of, okay, first they have to go to their primary care doctor, then they have to have 2 negative flu tests, then they have to have X, Y, and Z, and then they'll end up in the emergency room, etc. And she had come up with this calculation of around $1,500, something like that.
Well, that had to do with some tests too, I think.
Okay. But she badgered the CDC person about why it needed to be free. And they were like, okay, yes, we understand, we'll work on that. And then after that, they walked back and refused to answer any questions about it. Anybody that asked, they're like, no comment, we can neither confirm nor deny type stuff.
Yeah. And so she is a congressperson from California.
Got
and
it.
she's amazing. I think, let's see. I think she was a student of Elizabeth Warren. But yes, she is amazing.
Yeah, I watched the video and was like, yes, more please.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about her. I live outside New York City, so like I follow AOC like a lot. Like I'm kind of like low-key obsessed with her. So she's like my go-to person, but like I've heard really good things about Katie Porter too.
You need to look up, so she went to Congress in a Halloween costume last year because that is what she does. That's her tradition with her kids. Like they wear Halloween costumes. So she wore her Halloween costume to work. And she got so much flack for it.
Look, you gotta find a
super flattering.
Like I bought Jell-O pudding cups as a 35-year-old woman when I was doing apocalypse shopping because I wanted them and because I could and because these are uncertain times and they gave me joy. If it gave her joy to wear her Halloween costume, then what's the problem? I mean, people need more joy in their lives.
They do. I routinely have Capri Sun, and I used to routinely have Capri Sun and gummies in my house at all times. And I would legitimately offer them to people as like options. And I would just be like, we're toddlers. It's fine. We pay rent.
I have the last time I went shopping, at least half of my ingredients were so I could make desserts. Half the things I bought.
That's fair.
Being an adult has very few perks, but getting to choose what you eat and when you eat it is one of those perks.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm diabetic, like, heavily. However, I always have candy in my apartment. Like, I'm terrible about it, but I love it so much. And so when I was apocalypse shopping, I was like, you know what? I'm buying more candy. Because if I run out of food, at least it'll keep my blood sugar up and I won't pass out.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At
there's
the
rationale
top of
behind
my shopping
everything.
list is cookies. Yeah.
Like, right now, I have way more candy than I should, honestly. But I have robin's eggs, which are the Whoppers with the candy shell on them.
Mm-hmm.
I have lemon Kit Kats. I have Skittles. I have Cadbury cream eggs. I have.
I would kill a man for a Cadbury cream egg right now.
Yeah, I bought a 5-pack of them. I was like, look, seasonal candy, you got to pounce when you can.
Yeah.
Then it's not there anymore. Like, I went to go buy more of those lemon Kit Kats today. Couldn't find them anywhere. And I'm like, that's
I've
because they're
never heard of lemon Kit Kats in my life.
It's seasonal for Easter, and oh my God, they are delicious.
That doesn't sound like something that comes to my area.
Green tea Kit Kats are also really good.
I've heard of those ones.
They are
I found
fantastic.
the lemon ones sort of by random. And I was like, all right, either these are going to be really good or they're going to be really, really bad. Turns out they're really good. And I was trying to explain it to a friend of mine who lives in New Zealand. And she's like, what do you mean lemon Kit Kats? Wouldn't that taste terrible with the chocolate? I was like, no, they're white chocolate, sweetheart.
Okay.
She's like, oh, okay, that makes way more sense.
I'm not a huge white chocolate person though, so maybe I will.
Don't have like the usually overarching flavor of white chocolate. I don't know if they've done something to the white chocolate to sort of strip that out before putting the lemon flavor in. Or it could be that the like coating is more of a like candy melt situation as opposed to white chocolate. I would venture a guess that could be what it is because the lemon flavor is mostly what you taste until the very end, like the finish of it. You're like, wait a minute, this is not lemon. But it's a very momentary, this is not lemon. The craft chat that I had initially agreed to attend today, tonight, I messaged the woman earlier today to ask, hey, what time is this happening? And she's like, oh, it's not because I'm sick. And in my head, I'm wondering, I'm like, wait a minute. She has cancer. I'm like, wait a minute. What kind of sick are you? It's like, oh no, it's just, like a stomach bug. In the back of my head, I remembered reading that some coronavirus patients are experiencing intestinal distress. I didn't say anything about it to her, but in my head, I'm like, this is interesting.
I've
This
been
looks like
taking my
nothing
temperature.
yet.
I can't see it.
Oh, hang on. Oof. It looks like nothing yet, but I have to shrink my pattern. Hang on a sec. This is my pattern.
Cute.
I got it off Etsy. It's going to be a pain in my butt. Can already tell. Ah, damn it. Well, the two dark blue I did were incorrect. I swapped out colors and I was supposed to do light blue, not dark blue.
Great. Many apologies.
That's okay. There are some dark colored stars. So I think I'm okay if I flip them. I'm okay. I'm not redoing that. Screw that. I am far too lazy for that.
Oh yeah, when it comes to crafting, I'm like, I can live with this mistake. I'll just regret it, but I'll live with it.
Yeah, I don't have to look at this. It's not for me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this. It's for somebody
And
else.
like-
They will never know.
If I'm making it for a client, it hurts extra bad because then I'm like, this is something that someone has paid me to make. But at the same time, they don't necessarily know that it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And like I'm one of those people where I try to build other people up, but I don't necessarily follow my own advice. So like I'm in a goth crafting group that I'm helping to mod for right now. And this girl posted that some of her art, and she's like, oh, well, you know, I have dreams of making an Instagram one day. And I was like, look, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Do it now. Number one, your art is great. Number two, art is subjective. So what you don't like about something could be what endears it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You need to seize the day and understand that the world needs more art. And it doesn't matter if it's good enough for you to feel that it deserves an Instagram, because good enough is one of those things where it becomes toxic because you're comparing yourself to other people. And that's something that I definitely have the worst time doing. Like I follow a bunch of big quillers. I look at their work and I'm like, oh my God, this stuff's amazing. My stuff just can't measure up. So I've been working really hard about it. It's not a matter of measuring up to somebody else's standard so much as making your own standard to reach.
I just realized why the colors are flipped like this is because, yeah, no, I actually like screwed myself a lot more than I thought. Because the reason why the dark stars are up here is because there's like lines like for fireworks, and the line is light colored. So if I do a light colored star next to a light colored line, it's going to look weird. So I do actually have to take this out, and I'm like going to kill myself.
Bummer.
Oh no.
It's okay. I learned my lesson. That's what I get for not writing out my color chart or asking the seller to change the color chart.
They can do that?
Oh yeah, I've messaged sellers before. Actually, so when my friends got married, I wanted the bride. I was in the wedding, and the bride works at a craft store. She worked at AC Moore. Now she works at Joann's. And so I knew that she would really appreciate something hand stitched. And so I bought a pattern for them, and I was like looking for different ones because I knew she was going to have succulents. And they ended up being the wedding favor. Well, as I was deciding on a pattern, I had several saved. I got her wedding invitation in the mail, and it turned out that this seller had the exact same pattern as the wedding invite. And so I messaged, but it was slightly different. And I messaged the seller, and they were like, oh, yeah, I have a deal with that artist to license their patterns. And so so I sent her a picture of the wedding invite, and we worked together we had to rotate the pattern, and then we worked together to like make it look almost identical to the wedding invitation.
That's cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing, and it turned out amazing. So
Also, I have to say, I love your like orange terracotta pillows / blanket. Orange is my favorite color.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like a burnt orange. I have gold smaller pillows that I bought that I haven't really put out yet. Taking this out is going to be seriously the bane of my existence. Damn it.
Yeah, from what I understand, unpicking things is like way mega annoying.
I mean, the nice thing is if you cut it, you can kind of force it. It's just a matter of figuring out where it went.
So I'm hosting a craft chat tomorrow night for several of my friends where I'm going to be venturing into doing watercolor.
Oh, that's super fun.
Like I bought all the supplies. Because I work with paper and my business is making quilt items, I recently did a project where it really could have benefited from some watercolor elements. And I was like, there's no reason that I can't learn how to do this. And so I joined a watercolor group on Facebook to ask questions about like what supplies would you recommend for a beginner that are not like super expensive, or what tutorials would you recommend? Is there a specific YouTube artist that I should be seeking out? Stuff like that. And one of the moderators of the group messaged me to give me like a ton of recommendations and actual links to products, and it turns out the place that they were sending me to was having a big sale. And so when I sold one of my items that I had made for a craft fair to a friend, craft fair itself was the bust, but she liked it enough that she wanted it. I was able to get like the Cadillac of watercolor papers. I'm going to work up to that though. I'm not going to waste it on learning how to do stuff. Some brushes and a set of like trial size watercolors that are really good quality.
That's
awesome. So I'm a
awesome.
little bit about starting that tomorrow just because it's new and I have anxiety. So but I'm glad that I got the supplies when I did. One, because the sale is over now. And two, because most craft places are shutting down due to the pandemic.
What we're finding here in New Jersey is that even though the stores are closed, you can order online or call, and they're still open for pickup. But given how pissed off our governor is at how many people are still open, I don't know how much of that is going to stay.
My
Yeah, our governor,
tour last week.
What?
I said I did my Joann's order for the order online and ship to the store, and you call them when you're outside and they curbside pickup.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer that's gonna be.
Well,
Our
Joanne's
governor
made the
had
argument that they're essential because they're offering I think for free. If you call, they'll provide mask supplies and you can make masks to donate.
Right. I know that the Joann's in my hometown was doing that. I'm not sure if the one here is. They probably are, but
I thought.
my sewing machine is out of commission and I haven't had money to get it fixed. So I cannot unfortunately get in on this because I would also sew some for myself by buying my own supplies.
I'm wondering if I'm allowed to hand sew because my mom has a sewing machine and I'm going to have to do laundry at my mother's because she lives close enough. And we weighed our options and it seems to be the safest. Even though my dad's a plumber and he, is meeting clients, the clients are making him wear gloves and masks, and so it seems to be safest to do it there. But I sent the thing to my mom about Joanne's doing that and was like, we should do this because we have the ability to. But she has a sewing machine. But otherwise, I could sew by hand if it's allowed. But I don't know how tight the stitches have to be.
Yeah, that's what I would be concerned about, and I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a question I'm probably going to have to ask somebody. I do know an actress that I follow on Instagram. She has been running a farm for the last 10 years. And she acts on the side and while she raises her family, and she's been sewing masks out of reusable bags and the cotton that is required, and that's how she was doing it. So I don't, like I said, I just don't know how feasible it is, because I would sew by hand, because obviously cross-stitching, I know how to sew by hand. Ow.
It depends. I mean, probably not. It would be, I'm not sure you're actually going to end up in hospitals, and they would probably go over other masks. It would be nice if people, have.
We're losing you.
You're reverting back to your
My
robot
internet
self.
connection. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to turn off video.
My internet connection is normally good, but the last day or so has been very wonky, so I'm sure it's the increased usage in the area that's probably doing it.
It does not help that I just use my phone as a hotspot because I don't normally use that much internet, so I don't need to pay for it. Just use what I already have.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more on my computer than I am on my phone. Plus, I need my computer for work. So, for me, I have to have good, strong connection. So when stuff is buffering or losing people during video chats, it gets on my last nerve. And I am not a patient person at all.
It's funny how often crafters are not patient people in real life.
Right? It's a weird coincidence. I have trouble with focus because of my anxiety. So when I'm working, and today was especially difficult with this. I could not focus on doing my work. I got distracted by every little thing, and I had to take multiple breaks that I wouldn't normally have taken, just so that I could come back and try to focus for 20 minutes. But my job was already a work from home job, which is contract work, so we don't have to adhere to like super strict schedules as long as our assigned work gets done by 10 p.m. They don't actually care when you do it.
See, my boss is like very rigid, so like we're required to work our normal hours, but like if I wanted to walk away from my computer for 2 hours, if I could figure out a way for him to not realize that, like it wouldn't affect my job. As long as I answered the phone when it rings. Because all of our phones are being forwarded to our cells.
Gotcha. What do you do for a living?
I work for a bank. I work in like corporate headquarters for a bank. I'm in charge of the approval list, and then I do environmental job ordering, and I do come out. Why are you stuck? I do I really don't know why this. Oh, here it is. Okay. Why are you still stuck? There we go. And I manage our money account, like my department's money account. So those are kind of the things that I do.
So your job became a work from home job.
Yes. It could have always been work from home. However, I work in the same office as my boss, and they don't have an admin anymore. They haven't for I've worked there a year and a half, and they didn't have one for I think like 2 years before I started. So I'm also like the de facto admin for my department, and I'm also the tech support. I'm one of 2 people that runs in-office tech support for the database we use.
Yeah, your job is kind of critical.
Yeah. So I do work in an office, and I do prefer working in an office, but what's been really nice is that my living room is very long. So this is like the couch part of it is like basically everything you see, and that's in front of my television. And so we when it became that we were going to be working from home indefinitely, but at least for 2 weeks, what we did was we took my docking station from work home and set my 2 monitors up with my work laptop, and then so like it goes TV in front of me and then desk and desk all along the same wall. And so like we kind of separated it so that like that half is the office and this half is the living room, and so I don't go over there except for work, so it feels like work. So like, which is like all I really wanted is like I need it to feel like work. I need it to not feel like home. So like I sit at a desk. I live next door to my office, so I run to my office every morning to print because we're not allowed to print at home. And I have to print a report in order to create a report for my department. And so I run and print every morning with my laptop, and then I come home and I do like the same routine as I do at work. And so like it's really helped keep it very stable.
Me, my job was always a work from home job because I have a foot deformity. So having my legs hanging down at the desk for long periods of time causes me an immense amount of pain. So I have to work on my bed with my legs like up perpendicular to my body, which I do not everything on my bed, but I work on my bed, I craft on my bed, I eat while I'm in bed. Like, this is the hub of my apartment.
Yeah.
Just because it's the place that's most comfortable for me. And I feel bad because it's so incredibly messy in here that my dog is not allowed in. I mean, she's in bed right now, so she's perfectly fine in the living room. But like majority of my time is either spent with her or in here. Like I do my best to to spend as much time with her as I can, but realistically, like the way that I think about it is, okay, you're asleep for however many hours. And then if I was working outside the home, I would be away for however many hours. So the time that I would spend with her in the morning before getting ready to go to work, and the time that I would spend with her in the evening when I'm home before I go to sleep, I make sure she still gets that time.
That makes sense.
Like that was very, very important to me when I got her, because when I got her, I was still in college. She's 14 years old. She spends the majority of her time sleeping anyway. Love her to death, but she's very boring. And she is mostly deaf, partially blind. So I realized that she's sort of coming to the end of her life, so I need to savor the time that I still have left with her. I mean, she's a small dog and they tend to live longer than bigger dogs, so I don't know exactly how much time she's got left. I mean, other than the deafness and the blindness, she's got urinary crystals. But other than that, she's pretty damn healthy, and she's pretty spry for a 14-year-old.
No arthritis?
Not that I can tell. I mean, she jumps up and down when it's food time, so if it bothers her, it doesn't bother her that much. Like, she'll do what I call the hydraulic hop, where she leaves her back feet on the ground, but like hops up and down on her front legs. And then as I'm walking to the cabinet where I keep her food, she gets fully off the ground. Now, she can't jump up on the couch or the ottoman anymore by herself, but I don't mind picking her up for that.
They also make stairs for dogs.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting some of those, but realistically, with my limited income, because I don't work full time, and I'm also not on disability, like, they haven't approved me yet, which we're really, really hoping for because it would help a lot. But I don't mind picking her up as long as my back isn't bothering me that day. But she's a pretty happy camper. Like everywhere that I take her, everybody says that she's such a sweet dog, so I'm doing something right.
I find that animals, if you respect them and you give them love, they tend to be fine. Also feed them, but like, you know.
That was one of the things that I had to do earlier today. I had to brave going to the store to get food for me. But because my governor just issued an order about shutting down a bunch more businesses, I wasn't sure if PetSmart would fall into that category. So I had to make sure that I went and got more dog food today.
In New Jersey and New York, pet stores are considered essential businesses because of the fact that like they understand that pets need food too and need supplies.
Yep. Here too. In Kansas.
I would hope that North Carolina would be the same, but I still wasn't sure. So I was like, I would rather be safe than sorry. Now, like, I couldn't buy her a big, 50-pound bag of dog food. One, because I couldn't carry it. Two, I don't even think that they make a 50-pound thing of dog food of this particular kind because she has to have like an allergy-friendly kind. So it's one of those things where I bought what I could.
Yeah. We had to buy our wet food off Amazon and it was delayed, understandably. And so it came today and we couldn't give them their wet food this morning, so we had to give them extra dry. And when it came, my husband wiped it all down with like Clorox wipes before, like we have a common hallway with the apartment upstairs, and he left the box in the hallway and he just made sure that like, we didn't get, like, he wiped down the door handles, he wiped down the box of cat food, like he wiped down the blade that he used to open the box, like he wiped down everything.
I've just been putting all of my stuff that I bring in from outside in its own little quarantine area where I don't touch it for days.
We went for a walk on lunch and somebody's door had like a big sign that said "Do not touch," like meaning their door. I guess in case they get packages or their upstairs neighbor gets packages. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. Since we're home, we could have put a sign on our door that said "Knock on our window," because we wouldn't touch the outside of our window, so like we would be fine, and we could be like, just don't touch our door.
See, by the time I went to the store, there were no wipes, there was no bleach, there was no Lysol, and I couldn't afford to get that and food at the same time. So, like, I managed to get some bleach today. It's like off-brand bleach, but I don't care. It says that it kills 99.9% of germs. That's all I care about.
Yeah, bleach is bleach.
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned with brand about that. I would have liked a bigger bottle, but I took what I could, and I was respectful about not buying 2 bottles because there was a limited amount. Now, there wasn't a sign on front of the bleach that said limit 1 per customer. There was when I went to go get antibacterial hand soap, which I know is not going to kill a virus, but they say, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
Hilarious.
I have something to wash them with.
I don't know why everyone's like. I've read some stuff where it's recommending antibacterial hand soap. I'm like, no, or antimicrobial. I'm like, no, just regular soap is fine.
Yeah, just a plain fatty-based soap.
Yes.
What you need. Like, I saw a video from Alton Brown that explained why you needed a fatty-based soap. That liquid or bar was okay. That whether you wash with hot or cold water is okay. It's that it's got to be a fatty-based soap to strip away the virus's outer layer, and that you have to do it for the full 20 seconds or longer. I tend to go overboard.
The graphic I saw showed that not everything's gone after 20 seconds. It's after 30 seconds. And I was like, well, then why aren't we doing it for 30 seconds? So I started doing it for 30.
Yeah, I am an unreliable counter in that my cadence for counting might not be officially 20 seconds, but I'm a singer. And so everywhere put out these lists of songs where the choruses are 20 seconds, and I always sing them at least 1.5 times through so that I know that I'm making at least 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Sometimes there was one time when I had touched something, I forget what it was while I was out. I didn't want to touch it, but it kind of had to be done. It might have been when I got gas. That when I came home, I washed my hands for 2 full choruses. I was like, no, I'm not risking this. And a friend of mine apparently bought me some cleaning supplies on Amazon. They were supposed to get here today because I checked yesterday. And it's like delivery by end of day Tuesday. And I was like, all right, that's good. But when I checked earlier today, it said delivery guaranteed by Thursday. And I'm like, oh. Well then, fine.
I just hope people learn how to wash their hands from this, because I've known how to wash my hands since they had a blacklight lesson in like 3rd grade. They like put your hands in lotion, and then if they can't, and then like teach you how to wash your hands, and then show you what's left after you've washed your hands. Evidently, no one else got that lesson, or it didn't sink in.
No, I never got that lesson, and that would have been a cool lesson.
Yeah, that sounds like it would have been really cool.
But or I don't know, or people just don't read infographics, because like they have those up everywhere and always have. And then people like just dip their hands under the sink and like barely put the soap on their hands, and they're like, "Oh, I washed my hands." So I really hope people know how to wash their hands now.
that would definitely be nice to come away with, but if they didn't do it before, fear or scaring them into it, I guess, is the next best thing.
Yeah. Not sure how long that lesson will last after this.
My podiatrist, who I went and saw, she said that she and the office manager for her practice went into, I guess, a Circle K, who's doing some sort of promotion for healthcare workers, like come in and we'll give you a free coffee or free something or other. But this particular Circle K made food. While they were in the bathroom washing their hands, they said that a worker came out of one of the stalls, said to them audibly, "Oh, I washed my hands earlier," and literally walked out. I was like, no, that would get an automatic call from the health department for me, even if we were not in pandemic times.
Yeah.
The only time I've done that was if I wasn't going to be touching any doors, and then you have to wash your hands once you get back to the food area anyways. And I think it's also when I'm not in the general public, when I'm not like around. But that's also when I'm feeling lazy and don't feel like washing my hands twice in 1 minute. And was before this. But yeah, no, washing your hands earlier in bathroom, no.
Like my podiatrist couldn't even believe it. She said, are we seriously getting food from here now? Like, do we trust this enough now?
Oh, yeah, no.
So I'm not sure what exactly they did. Like, so my friend that lives in Florida said that Florida has now closed down non-essential medical like visits or procedures or stuff like that. And so she doesn't get her knee surgery that she needs, which in these times is understandable. It sucks, but it's understandable.
That's because of being in a hospital and your risk of being exposed to this is so great that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Because my supervisor was supposed to get her hip replaced and they had to cancel indefinitely. Like, she'll be rescheduled at some point, but, like, we don't know when.
And I felt really bad for my friend, but it's like she smokes pot, honestly, but she says that puts her at risk for catching it because, you know, lung stuff and respiratory things. So it is best that she kind of stays away from hospitals for now. And so I was really concerned that they were going to do that here in North Carolina. They probably still will. However, because of my diabetes, I have a diabetic ulcer on my foot that I've had since August, and we've been trying to get healed. It's so close to being healed that I can taste it, but it's still not quite there. And so I was concerned about if North Carolina does that, am I going to have to like forego medical care for it, which would probably make me lose my foot. And my podiatrist, I saw her earlier this week, like yesterday actually, and I asked her, okay, what is the contingency plan for my foot? And she said, well, because you're diabetic, you're considered high risk, and this is considered emergency care, so you would still get care. Plus, her office is not in a hospital. It is a separate office, like in a little office park. So there's obviously still risk, but if she's only going to be seeing emergency care patients, that risk is less.
Here in Jersey, they have that if you think you're sick, like if you have any cough or anything, they go, don't even come in, we'll come to you. And they walk to your car in the parking lot. So they won't even let you step foot in the office.
That's interesting.
Even like dentists have said that. Like if you have an emergency dentist thing, they're like, come to the parking lot and we'll evaluate to see if you need to come in.
Oh yeah, I would not be doing anything not emergency with dental right now.
No.
My dad was a dentist for 35 years before he passed away. And I was talking to my mom the other day and I was like, how do you think he would have handled this? And she was like, well, you know your father, you know what he would have done. He would have continued to give care until someone told him that he couldn't. And my dad was very dedicated, like both my parents spent both their careers in public health. So they worked for the health department in my hometown and in Boston and in Hyden, Kentucky, which is a itty town up in the mountains. So they would have been, were they not elderly now, and I demanded it, that they would stay away, they would still have spent being on the front lines of this.
I think that other states could learn a lot from what New Jersey and New York are doing, only because we have so many cases. But honestly, in a lot of ways, we're not limiting it enough. And it's gotten to the point where in New Jersey, they were like, we're not playing, and you will now be charged for the crime if you don't listen to the social distancing rules, because people were having house parties and people were having basketball games and people were doing all of this like incredibly stupid stuff. And so they started prosecuting. They were like, I think starting yesterday, they were like, you're going to get arrested for this. It's a misdemeanor, so basically it's a large fine. But they're like, you're going to get arrested. Like, you're going to be prosecuted.
I have a friend that's a DJ, and obviously with bars and restaurants and stuff shut down, she can't work. She doesn't have another source of income, so she's been doing live stuff all day on Facebook, talking about, oh, this is my Cash App, and this is my PayPal, and this is my whatever. I need to feed myself and my kids and my dog and my rent. And I felt really, really bad for her. But then in one of the videos that I was watching, she's like, oh, and you can book me for a 10-person COVID-19 house party. And I wanted to strangle her.
What?
Yeah.
I wanted to come to her house and be like, listen to me, bitch. If I find out
Maybe like
you've done this, I will call the police.
It's because the media put too much emphasis on that only old people will die from this, and like it's not true. Anybody
Absolutely
can.
not true.
Anybody is.
I also find it ridiculous when people insist on like only following the letter of the law and not the actual morality of it.
Yeah. I've been losing my crap on Twitter today because like I'm just so mad at everything. Like yesterday I was so anxious that like I threw together an impromptu game night because I was like, I can't handle my anxiety any longer. Like there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm not going to be able to concentrate on my book. Like I can't do anything that I normally do. It's so bad. And today I'm like, I am a 5-3 ball of rage.
Like me personally, I was already dealing with bad paranoia and anxiety and my bipolar. And then this happened, and things have just been getting steadily worse. Like when I found out about the, virus in January, I was like, this is going to be a world, my anxiety told me, this is going to be a worldwide pandemic. This is gonna be bad. You're gonna catch it. You're gonna die. And then things have just kind of steadily been amping up and continuing. And I had a panic attack Saturday because I coughed twice, was convinced that I had it and that I was gonna die. And I cry like anytime I need to leave my apartment because I'm like, what if this is the day? What if this is the day and you catch it? Then you're gonna end up in the hospital and they're gonna tell you, look, you're too unhealthy, we're just gonna let you suffer and die. And it's so frustrating because people are like, oh, well, I'm not giving up my right to free assembly to do social distancing, or you can't take this away from me, I'm still gonna go out and do whatever. It's like, look, I hope that you don't have anybody in your life that is elderly, that is disabled, that has a compromised immune system, because if you continue in this way, they will die, and it will be because of you.
See,
People also,
Go ahead.
oh, that's also what the state of emergency is for. You get less rights in a state of emergency.
Yeah. I'm past that, and now I'm like, good, I hope you die, because that is the only cure to your apathy. I've literally tweeted that 2 days in a row on Twitter, that I hope that everybody who values the economy over lives gets coronavirus and dies, because there's no cure to that level of apathy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I am so angry now. Like, starting today, well, starting last night. I just became so angry, and it's just not going away.
See, I alternate between anger, I'm gonna die, like being resigned to the fact that I'm gonna die, or there's an avalanche of what ifs. Well, what if I catch it? What if my mother catches it? What if my compromised sister with stage 4 breast cancer in hospice catches it? Like, realistically, she's been in hospice since last year, but she's still hanging on.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a terrible way to die. Her way of dying right now is pretty bad, but this would just decimate her. Like, she would not survive long at all. And while we are understanding of the fact that she will go at some point from this, she's not gotten treatment in about at least a year and a half. But it's like, this is no joke. And people are dying, and it's a terrible way to go. Like, you're drowning. You are drowning.
Yeah.
And it's scary because it's like, okay, well, I have several of the comorbidities of people that have died. I'm diabetic. I have high blood pressure. I'm just not healthy in any way, shape, or form. My mother is elderly who has high blood pressure. And my sister is immunocompromised, and her husband is trying his best not to leave their apartment unless it's absolutely necessary, for good reason. But an entire branch of my family could be gone this year.
That happened to a family in Pennsylvania.
I saw that. They were like, the mother is ill in the hospital, and she doesn't even realize that her 2 eldest children have died.
Yeah. I needed to fill one of my prescriptions, and one of my other ones was coming up for renewal, so I asked them to renew it a couple days early for me, because the one is like, probably, I consider it personally the most vital to my survival, because there's something wrong with my pituitary gland, and we weren't sure which medication that I'm on was going to do the most good. And I ended up with a problem with the pituitary gland medication, and I started relapsing immediately. And so, like, I learned very quickly, like, okay, this is my most important med. This is the med I will never, ever, ever skip, no matter what. And it's twice a week, half a pill. So it's something. I don't know if you guys heard my alarm go off, but my alarm went off because today is one of the days I take it. And so So I went to renew it, and the only reason why I wasn't needing a renewal, even though they had called and said like, "Hey, you're due," is because of the issue with the medication. The pharmacist had given me extra pills because basically they're forcing me to cut my own pills, and the way she told me to do it caused my pills to not cut correctly, and I wasn't getting the correct dose, and she replaced those pills for me. And so I was so I had a couple extra. And so so she was like, "Oh yeah, this will be ready tomorrow," because that's the normal thing. And then I get a text from them that night, "Oh, this will take a week." And I'm like, "Well, thank God I don't need it right away." And then they called me the next day and they're like, "We are frantically trying to get this for you because we know this is important to you." And I was like, "Thank you, but you guys, it's okay if I wait a week. I have enough, but like, I have another med. I only have 2 weeks on, and I'm worried because that drug is actually popular, and because it's for blood pressure, so I know it's a popular drug." And they were like, "Actually, we have a lot of that in stock, but you're due for renewal on Sunday. We'll try to renew it early." And so it all came in on the same, like the next day. And I asked my husband to go get it, and he kind of grumbled about it. And I was like, "Well, we've hit cases in our town. Like, that's it. I really shouldn't go out in public anymore. Like, we're done. I don't know how busy the pharmacy is going to be because people are panicking." So then Sunday, I was like, "Well, it's safe to go to the grocery store. We're going at like later in the day when nobody's there because everybody's going in the morning." I had a panic attack. I cried. Like leaving the store, I cried. Couldn't touch my face. Couldn't do anything about it. Drove home like I live around the corner from my supermarket. Thank God. But like I drove home like trying not to start sobbing. And I'm like, "Well, grocery stores are out. I'm done. I'm staying indoors."
Like, because I take so many medications, that's a big concern of mine, is that I'm gonna go to the pharmacy at some point, and they're gonna say, "We don't have this medicine, nowhere has this medicine. Sorry for you," like, there's some that it would be inconvenient to be without, but I could survive. And then there are others where if I go like 3 days without them, mainly my psych meds, things get exponentially worse with each day. I'm diabetic and I'm supposed to be on insulin, can't afford it because of a prescription deductible that I haven't met yet. So I haven't had any since December, but in that prescription, I still have one vial squirreled away so that if things get really, really bad, I can just take all of it. Be like, "I'm done. Goodbye. No more."
The insurance companies have a code for the pharmacist to input to override the renewal. That's nationwide. Because one of the other problems is that most of our prescriptions they're made in China. So the supply chains have been so thoroughly disrupted. So if you renew at a week and you can call your pharmacist at 3 weeks and be like, "Hey, should I ask for a renewal now? Because how important is it that how backlogged are you?" And they'll be able to help you out with that, because that's exactly what I did with my pharmacist with my hydrochlorothiazide. I was like, "I know this is a really popular med. If you're having trouble getting a med that's very obscure, like I'm assuming you're going to have trouble getting this." And they said, "Right now we have a ton." This was on a Wednesday, and she's like, "You're due to renew on the 22nd, which was Sunday." And so she's like, "I can put in a request for an override and see if your insurance company accepts it." And they did. And so she was able to fill that prescription that day, and I got the other one the next day. So I had my husband go and pick both up at the same time. So
Yeah,
pharmacists helping.
Anytime, like I refill all of my pills on my doser on Sundays. And so usually when I place an order, it's on Sunday. And I do it online so that it'll be ready, you know, however many days into the week I need most of the meds. But I did that Sunday and I haven't gotten any calls saying, oh, we're out of this med or anything like that. So I have to hope that everything's okay because I'm planning to go pick it up on Thursday, which is when I need to get them.
Yeah.
I would think if there was a problem that they would have called me by now, but it could be that they're just so overwhelmed that they're not making phone calls, maybe?
Possibly. I know that they're very busy, but I just when that happened to me, I posted on Twitter and I was like, refill your meds, kids. Like, seriously. If you need them to live. Sorry, my cat's demanding food.
Yeah, my anxiety was not great yesterday because my sister is a firefighter with an EMT license, and they respond to medical calls, which I still don't get. But she's saving up money right now and lives with our parents. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, they're in their 50s, but it's not like they're in their okay-ish health. But it's not like she can have her own bedroom, and it's not like she can have her own bathroom. And their house is not, like, big enough for, like, all of these people who have, like, separate living spaces this person can be in. I'm like, who has that? You have to have a very nice house for that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I am all anxious, and my dad has been trying to calm me down and like, just don't look at the news. Dude, you do realize you might not end up on a ventilator, but you could require oxygen. You smoked for like 15, 20 years.
Oh yeah, that's another concern about my mom is that she smoked for 45 years. She quit, let's see, it's 2020. She quit in 2009, I think, or 2008. But, you know, it's very scary for people, you know, like that particular friend that was like, oh, I'm not giving up my rights. I'm still going to do what I want to do. He's a guy that I've had dealings with before. Like, we used to go to karaoke every weekend. And I would put up with him because he was sort of like one of the personalities of the group. But then after a friend of mine, he completely screwed over, I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. So I cut him out of my life. We almost got into it on a friend's post recently where she was begging people to stay home. And he was like, well, I'm not giving up my rights. And I was like, you know what, Kevin? I'm done. And I swear that I had blocked him before, but he keeps making new profiles. So I'm like, I know exactly who this person is, block. I know who you are, block. I know who you are, block. And it's just like, why? And I have a feeling that the reason he has to keep making new profiles is because he keeps getting like notices from Facebook of, we're shutting your account because you're saying and doing terrible things.
Yeah. That's why I said, if all of these people want to believe in freedom of assembly and believe in a capitalist God, like, fine, you guys all get your own island. Let's see how your God treats you. Like, you know, because I can't do it. Like I said, like, I'm such a ball of rage and anxiety constantly that I'm at the point where it's like, well, you just need to get it and die then, because, like, there's no cure for this. Like, there's no cure for how stupid you're being.
I deeply regret watching the press conference yesterday. I started watching it because someone on ANF was talking about it. And oh my God, I really wish I hadn't watched it. I was just yelling the whole time.
Yeah. We were so I have like a ton of stuff on my DVR, and so I put something on before all the streaming stuff, and it turned out to be from November, and there was Black Friday ads, and one of them was, "It's Black Friday forever," and I went, "It is Black Friday forever because we're in the middle of a plague." And I just like I lost my shit for a second. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm just so done. Like, I just want to put like doesn't Kansas have like a bunch of empty space that we can just put them like cattle in, and they can just all infect each other and really learn what freedom and no socialism and no government is that they claim they want? Like, can't we just do that? Like,
if you want them to like have no resources whatsoever,
yes,
and over,
please,
yeah.
sold, done.
Just market it as a party.
I mean,
and
I've
they'll go
heard of
willingly.
you old.
Party.
Market
Yeah,
it
there's
as
a scoop.
Burning Man and Coachella combined,
Yeah.
and watch them voluntarily flock there, and then you just don't let them leave.
I do like all the anti-vax arguments.
All the
How
way.
people are like, hey, you know what? Oh no, how people are like, hey, people who are anti-vax, this is what we mean.
Yeah.
This is why we have vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a collective thing where people I'm not sure how old you guys are, but I'd say if you're under maybe about 40, the collective, like, time spent on this planet has been in a time period where there was no polio and smallpox and measles, and like we didn't have
Or
to
chicken pox.
chickenpox.
My
We didn't have
husband's
to
30, I'm
experience-
36. He had the chicken pox
I had
vaccine.
chicken pox.
I had chicken pox? When the fuck did they come out with a vaccine?
Yeah, okay, no. So the chickenpox vaccine came out in 95, I think, 96.
The chickenpox
Okay.
vaccine.
I
came
don't
out
think
in
it was
96
mandatory.
because I got chickenpox in 1995, and that was what caused me to become diabetic.
Oh, but yeah,
Yep.
I don't think it was like regularly given until like 97 or 98. I don't know. My sister was born in 94 and she got chicken pox at like 2 because because her daycare was like, oh, this other room someone had chicken pox, but she'll be fine. But not knowing that she had been spending time in that room once her room closed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I got chickenpox from my sister. My sister got it when she was, let's see, I was in first grade when I had it. That would have made me 6. So she had it when she was 10. And I didn't know, like, they kept us in separate bedrooms. We had our own rooms, but when I was asleep, I had done something to piss my sister off. So she snuck into my room at night and coughed in my face. When I came up with chicken pox, my mom's like, "But we were so careful." My sister's like, "Yeah, that's on me. So sorry." Except she wasn't sorry at all. So I missed the first 2
I
weeks
think
of first grade.
I was like 4 or 5 when I got chicken pox.
I was 7 and almost missed graduating 2nd grade. But they're finding that apparently you're at a greater risk of shingles if you had chicken pox. So if you've never had chicken pox, then you can't get shingles or something. Like, you can get chicken pox, but you can't get shingles or something weird like that, my mom was telling me. So it's actually like really good for you to not have chicken pox. And like that vaccine was a really good thing. But it's like so
I
weird to me.
remember that. So I had chicken pox. If I was in first grade, that would have made it 1990. And I remember in high school, a friend got the chicken pox vaccine because she was one of the few people in our class that had never had chickenpox. And so they're like, no, for you especially, it is important for you to get the chickenpox vaccination. Her family was very resistant to it, but they're like, we don't think you understand. The older you are when you get chickenpox, the worse it is for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's very important for your daughter to get this vaccination. Like, they had done other vaccinations, but I guess in the time period before when she was born and when this vaccination became necessary, they had kind of not fully become anti-vax, but were like questioning the efficacy of vaccines. And it's like, no, please don't.
I mean, it's one thing to do your own research because, like, I have back when I used to be on LiveJournal, because I'm only 2 years younger than you. Because I was in second grade in '91 and '92. So back in LiveJournal days, I was friends with this woman from Belgium, and she had a baby, and she would talk about the different, like, about what pregnancy and child care was like in her country, and her American friends would compare it to what it's like here. And I really learned some interesting things. And one of the things was that she did her own research on the vaccines, and some vaccines are necessary, and some vaccines are really not necessary and are do have complications. And so she did her research and had a conversation with her doctor and her kid's doctor, and they came to an agreement. And for some of them, it was a modified schedule, and for some of them, her kid didn't get them. And she really, like, armed herself with the facts and, like, went and had a conversation. And, like, I think that's the right way to do it. But, like, you can't be fully anti-vax and, like, expect to live. Like, you just can't.
And see, even that sounds kind of dangerous, but
I think she might have had some kind of nursing degree or something to, like, be able to make a more informed decision than I could.
I don't know. There's pretty much a reason they give you all of them, like measles, or we still get the polio vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, vaccine schedules are made in a particular way for a particular reason, and there are many people who have paid a lot of money to go to school for many years to figure out the best way to do them and the best times to do them, and why do I think that I have any right to question it? Like, obviously, if I want to waste my time doing research on, like, people's blog sites, then I can do that, but I don't think it's a good use of my time.
Oh, I think she went on medical journals, because this is before the anti-vax movement. Like, this was not a movement or anything, plus she was in Belgium. But I think she went on, like, medical journals and, like, found, like, information and went off that. Like, she really did research.
I mean, modified schedules are basically just doctors saying, yes, sure, whatever, just get the vaccines. Just get the vaccines. Not that it's best, it's that they just want you to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, if your kid's showing developmental delays and you want to delay a vaccine or have a modified schedule of the vaccine because of that, like, I don't see an issue with that, if the doctor agrees. Like, if you're seeing something in your specific kid that would make you concerned and say, hey, wait a second, should we maybe wait because they're developmentally at this stage and they're supposed to be at this stage for this shot. But again, I'm not a doctor, so I would listen to whatever my doctor says, and if my doctor goes, no, you need to do this now, I'd go, okay.
Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't for myself, but I would for a kid. But Ugh. Stop tangling. So my new issue with the stars that I redid is that I think they're too pale and they just blend right in. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I think I need a different color. I mean, I'm not redoing them again, like seriously, but I think I need a new color, so I wanted to do the Joanne's mask thing anyway, so I guess I'm ordering a new shade of blue. Cause here, I'll show you. So the one star, and maybe it's just the light, because the one star is right there, and I just don't think it's standing out. But then, like, as I got closer to the light, I was like, oh, okay, it's standing out. But I just think
It's not on camera.
I can see it on camera, but it's not standing out. But I feel like depending on the light and also once you have the full image, because I'm assuming that there will be significantly more of that darker color like surrounding it entirely. So
Yeah.
I feel like they will stand out more.
I just think it's the wrong color. I mean, we were comparing shades, and when you compare the shades next to each other, there's a stark difference, but I think when you cut it down to 2 threads, that it's not enough of a difference, and I need a different color, so I'm going to have to pick a different color.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. I don't mind that as long as I know what I'm doing.
That 3 hours went by really fast.
It did. And I got so little done, but like this is actually a lot to get done for 3 hours for a cross stitch.
Yeah. I got a lot done, actually. Which is kind of surprising.
It's because you're not trying to divide your attention between TV and your craft. You're just doing your craft, and then like the conversation is incidental.
Yeah. I got 10 rows of my blanket done.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Crochet or knitting?
Crochet. I'm doing a grafkin.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the pattern?
It's an octopus.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, it's for my daughter for her birthday. And her birthday is in less than 3 months, so I gotta get cracking.
Which is funny because isn't somebody else making a Kraken?
Cthulhu.
Oh, Cthulhu. Close enough. It was a good pun.
It is.
That's a wonderful pun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you guys see pictures of it? I posted it in the group.
Yes, I was very impressed.
I don't
Let's see.
think the algorithm showed it to me, but I'm sure I will see it later.
Silly algorithm.
We're also in the Discord too. No, that's Katie, who was here earlier, is in the Discord with me.
Gotcha.
So, which that's another person in.
I really need to join Discord.
What?
Oh, I should really join Discord. I've been meaning to for years. It's kind of sad.
I mean, I really like Discord. I have a couple servers on there. The one that I've been promoting really heavily right now is I'm running a Discord server where people can get updates and provide input as to what we do on these streams. But it's not very active. The Discord that the person in our group made is like very active to the point where I'm considering muting it because I can't stand how many notifications a day I'm getting. But like also like good for her that it's that active.
Mm-hmm.
Like my stuff is never that active and I don't know why. So, but like I said, like I'll post I'll try to remember to post in the Google Hangout chat when I'm doing stuff, tomorrow night is virtual game night. It's another Google Hangout, but it's in a different one. So you'd have to join that one. I'd have to give the link. But it's going to be Quiplash, which is a Jackbox game, and then we're going to play Cards Against Humanities. And that's from 8 to 11 as well, Eastern time. So.
Yeah, I'm doing my art chat with me and my friends from 9:30 till whenever. We're all kind of night owls, and one of them's in New Zealand, so she's got like, you know.
So she's in the middle of the day the next day.
Right.
Yeah. I only know that because on Saturday when I did a game night, my friend from New Zealand joined us. And when she signed off, we looked up what time it was there, and it was 3 in the afternoon on Sunday, and it was like 10 p.m. here. So, but my brothers live in Washington and California, and they are participating in game nights, and it's been really nice because, like, I'm starting them early for them because, like, you know, it's a 3-hour time difference, and they're really making an effort to show up for those, and it was such a blast having them there. So, considering I only really get to see them once a year, it was really nice.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. And their girlfriends played along too, and I love their girlfriends, so that was like really great.
Tomorrow night is my clean all of the stuff in the house I've been neglecting all week, and then just relax.
That's a good night.
Yeah.
Easter's coming up, isn't it?
April
It is.
12th.
Yeah.
I looked that up because Trump
That's
wants the
gonna be
economy
interesting.
restarted by then.
Oh, this is not. Yeah, it's gonna still be happening. So that should be.
Hope isn't doing any Easter things this year. They've already announced that.
Well, the thing is, like New Jersey and New York are not going to listen to any federal orders, like guaranteed, because we're so badly hit. But what I said today, I quote, because I spit out all my rage on Twitter. I quote retweeted a news article that Trump said that anybody who's visited New York City needs to self-isolate for 14 days. And I went, but the economy. And then I was like, so does this mean that when he reopens the economy to everybody else, he's just going to shut the borders to New Jersey and New York and nobody can go in and out? And I was like, by the way, if that happens, I called it first. Because I have a feeling that might actually happen. Like, we're going to continue to do what we need to do and stay in a state of emergency. Like, I know that. I trust our governors to do that because my governor, Phil Murphy, he had a press conference today and he streamed it live on Facebook Live to reach, because that had been suggested yesterday. And he was like, yes, that's a good idea because we want to reach as many people as possible. And he is like very adamant that like we're not stopping until this is done in New Jersey. And so like I could see it happening where like New Jersey and New York get their borders just completely shut down because Trump and the rest of them will think that, oh, that'll stop it because it's not as bad anywhere else. And then open
Which is
all
hilarious.
the rest of you. Yeah. And
I don't know.
The rest of you guys will end up exploding.
It isn't. Yep, but I am so glad of my current governor that because Kansas. Let's see, we have a Democrat mostly because no one wanted Chris Kobach to be governor.
That's fair.
But I am so glad we have him.
Like we have a Democratic governor, which was a big surprise. considering how red the rest of the state is. So when Roy Cooper won, I think everybody was surprised. The problem is that the guy that was in front of him, Pat McCrory, passed all of these laws right before Cooper took office that essentially tied his hands on like anything. So
Yeah,
he
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
that's
talked about
really
in
stupid.
Alabama and stuff.
Yeah, he made it so that essentially the governor, even though he's like the head of the state, had to double check with state legislature before enacting things, had to like the HB1 bathroom bill that passed here several years ago, that was McCrory's doing.
Yeah. The nice thing, though, is that if you ever end up with a Republican governor and a Democratic Congress in your state, they've screwed themselves.
Oh no, the gerrymandering here in North Carolina is so bad that they've had to redraw lines not once but twice from a single court case. And they were, of course, skewed in GOP favor.
Yeah, of course.
To negate minority vote and Democrats as well. That's one of the reasons that it had to be redrawn a second time, is because they were not first for silencing the minority vote, and they're like, okay, you have to redraw these lines, and they're like, okay, here, we'll include more minorities in these districts. They're like, you're still skipping the Democratic areas? Hello?
Yeah.
Like, they tried to pull a fast one, and we're like, no, we're not playing this game anymore.
Yeah, everyone, like every state needs to have a board, independent, like with people appointed, but like that aren't politicians to draw these lines.
There should
Well,
just be a government, like a federal office that does it. Like not one that's appointed, like one that's just overseen by the federal government.
I'm going to be signing off here.
There's state.
If you guys would like, I can show you the top half of my octopus before I fold it up.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Oh, cool.
and obviously we've still got the ends there. But
So,
I love it.
have you did crocheting over the ends not work very well?
You
I'm
got
sorry,
muffled
I
there.
didn't catch that.
Can't hear
Like with
you.
all the ends, I've seen a technique where you would just cut it off and then crochet over it.
I don't crochet over it because it doesn't actually hold it in well enough to like stand up to multiple washes and to kids playing with it,
Yeah.
which because this is a blanket for a child. So I cut the ends, probably leaving about 6 to 8 inches, and then I sew it in afterwards in at least 3 different directions. So what I will try to do is actually like sew in and out and up and through multiple different layers, like multiple different rows of the crochet, so that even if the very end of the thread starts to come out, the rest of it still stays as tucked as possible. Because then you can still trim the little ends that pop up when you wash it and when it gets pulled on, but it'll still have a solid base so you don't accidentally cut a thread right out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was productive. I got a bunch done, but I'm not happy with that one color, so now I'm going to have to do a new color for it.
I finished another dishcloth.
Yay!
That's wonderful.
And a lot of them have weaved in ends now.
That's good.
I got,
Have a good night, everyone, and hopefully I will see most of you again Thursday.
yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.